Dopamine, the pleasure molecule, right? Except it's not. Contrary to what was concluded when the molecule was discovered, it actually has little to do with pleasure at all. In fact, it is mostly involved in behaviors like striving for success, discovering new worlds, and even pursuing a partner. Knowing how to leverage dopamine is the key for acquiring the life you want and avoiding common pitfalls in today's day and age. This is Detox Dan presenting my top 5 takeaways from Niel Lieberman and Michael Long's The Molecule of More. Takeaway number 1. More, more, more. Imagine yourself in the Stone Age, on your usual stroll home to your favorite cave. You know, the one with extra comfy rocks. Suddenly, you notice that the bushes you've seen so many times before has juicy red berries on them. Boom! Massive dopamine spike, which is a call for you to pay close attention and remember the location. Dopamine works through something called reward prediction error. We are constantly trying to predict what will happen in our environment. If something we encounter surprises us in an unexpected and positive way, we get an increase in dopamine. The same might happen tomorrow on your remote to work. A new bakery has opened, just a block from your office. The croissants smell delicious. The coffee is tastier than you expected. Dopamine spikes. Unfortunately, your satisfaction won't last for long. One day, the amazing new coffee will become your same old everyday coffee. This is a natural progression. The dopamine circuit does not allow you to be satisfied with what you have. It always wants more. Quote, if you live under a bridge, dopamine makes you want a tent. If you live in a tent, you want a house. If you live in the most expensive mansion in the world, dopamine makes you want a castle on the moon. Unquote. To enjoy what you have in the here and now, you will need to tap into a different set of molecules, which I will dive into in takeaway 4. Takeaway number 2. The dark side of dopamine. If pigeons are put in a box and given the opportunity to peck at a lever a fixed number of times to receive food, they will lazily engage in the activity. However, if you change the rules so they receive the food after a random number of pecks instead, they start to peck much faster. The molecule of surprise has been activated. If you keep the rewards coming at random, the dopamine spikes never stop. This is what is abused in the gambling industry and why some people simply can't seem to quit. So, the same molecule that drives us toward inventions that save millions of lives can also trick us into engaging in activities we would actually prefer to avoid. Unhealthy addictions happen when your dopamine circuit gets thrown into a pathological state of overstimulation. Gambling, video games, and porn, for example, are designed to tap directly into our so-called desire circuits. They provide an unrealistic pace at which we can trigger our dopamine reward pathways. In a video game, you can level up quickly and there are fireworks celebrating you after each milestone. This is obviously not the case in real life, where progression is much slower, non-linear, and probably no one is shooting fireworks for you. So, no wonder it's easier to stay on the couch scrolling TikTok than to get up and learn how to play the piano. Once you really get addicted to something, like an app or a video game, the rewards you feel will decrease with each interaction, yet it makes it no easier to quit. That is the loop you don't want to get trapped in. Fortunately, dopamine is also involved in self-discipline through something called the dopamine control circuit. Takeaway number 3. The dopamine control circuit. The molecule that is strong enough to overthrow dopamine is dopamine. We have different dopamine circuits in our brain. The dopamine control circuit runs through the frontal lobes. This is the part of the brain that can see beyond the desire circuit and make calculated long-term plans instead of falling for temporary pleasure baits. Its goal is to maximize future resources. That is why the imaginary Stone Age you got dopamine spikes from creating a fishing net or finding a safer cave. Even more so than playing your favorite game of hitting a tree with a stone. That is also why you today might choose to engage in science instead of partying all night or turning off the computer to go for a run. The control circuit is also the source of our imagination. It gives us the ability to clearly picture future scenarios as if they were real and see which one we prefer. We can then plan carefully how we will get there and execute every step with severe determination. Each successful nudge towards your envisioned future is rewarded with a little dopamine spike. How dopaminergic we are in a pursuit will determine our tenacity towards the goal. The more we value our goal and the future we are building, the more dopamine will be created. Takeaway number 4. Dopamine versus the here and now. Regarding the molecules in our brain, it is important to distinguish between what is called the peripersonal space and the extrapersonal space. The peripersonal space refers to the world within an arm's reach, what is here and now and real. Basically, the things that are yours in this moment. The extrapersonal space is the world of possibilities and futures. Evolutionarily, it's been crucial that the brain treats these two realms very differently. What you own does not need to be chased. The brain solved this by letting a different set of chemicals be in charge for each of the realms. Dopamine's role is to maximize resources in the future, by planning how to pursue better and more stuff in the distance. The other molecules, referred to as the here and now molecules, are serotonin, oxytocin, endorphins, the brain's natural morphine, and endocannabinoids, the brain's natural marijuana. The goal for these molecules is to make us appreciate what we have in the present moment. They also put us in a state of protecting what we have rather than risking it for acquiring more. Mick Jagger sang, "I can't get no satisfaction." He's said to have slept with over 4,000 women. The problem is that he was stuck in a loop of perpetual dissatisfaction. Satisfaction comes from long-lasting healthy monogamous relationships, and they require that we are able to tap into the here and now molecules. To do this, we have to stop engaging in the low-effort highs that follow something new and exciting delivers, and instead deal with reality and all its imperfections. My favorite way of tapping into the here and now is through meditation. Temporarily giving up thoughts about the future and focusing all your attention on something that is happening in the now, like your breath, can lead to huge increases in satisfaction over time. Takeaway number 5. How to find balance. We must live in a good balance between dopamine and the here and now molecules. If you are tipped to either side, you are likely a workaholic or a pothead. Since modern society is pushing us in a direction of more, and more, I will present some ways to counteract that. The first one is mastery. Pursuing and getting good at a valuable skill is something that your dopamine circuits will sign up on. But at the pinnacle of achieving mastery in a desired area of life, something magical happens. Dopamine will take a step back and let us savor the feeling of contentment, at least for a while. This is where you will be allowed to take a breath and look back at what you have done in pure satisfaction. The second one is paying attention to reality. Focus on what you are doing, instead of jumping between the past and the future. The reward prediction error system will fire in a positive way the closer attention you pay to what is in front of you. Because where else would you look for things to surprise you in a positive way? It is the difference between being out on a walk and scrolling your phone, instead of looking at the trees and spotting the cute squirrel. Being out in nature in general is proven to help us tapping into the here and now as well. It is also important not to multitask if we want to pay close attention to things. Quote, "Almost any experience is improved by paying full attention to it," Kelly McGonigal. The last one is to engage in something creative. This could be an activity like writing or playing an instrument. Even something as ridiculous as coloring books for adults has shown to give a lot of satisfaction and provide a healthy escape from the imbalanced dopaminergic world. That was it for my top 5 takeaways of Niel Lieberman and Michael Long's The Molecule of More. To give me a dopamine spike, make sure to hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next time.